What if the reason you're still in debt has nothing to do with how much you make, and everything to do with what you believe? Not what you believe about money, what you believe about yourself. Because I've talked to a lot of people in their 20s, people working 2 jobs, skipping dinners out, doing everything right on paper, and they're still stuck. The number at the end of the month doesn't move. And when I ask them what they think is really going on, they usually go quiet for a second. And then they say something like, "I don't know. I just feel like I'll always be behind." That sentence right there, "I'll always be behind," that's not a financial problem. That's a belief that has roots. And today we're going to dig those roots up. 6 strategies, straight from Scripture. No fluff. Nothing you can't use by tomorrow morning. Let me tell you about a guy named Marcus. Not his real name, but a real story. Marcus was 24. He had a decent job. Nothing glamorous, but steady. He read the budget articles, downloaded the apps, tried the envelopes. Every few months, he'd get a little momentum, and then a car repair. A medical bill, a friend's wedding. Something always knocked him back to zero. And the worst part wasn't the debt. The worst part was the shame. Every Sunday, sitting in church, hearing about God's abundance and provision, and then checking his bank account on the way to the car and feeling like a fraud. That question is more common than most people admit, and it deserves an honest answer. Not a motivational poster, not a prosperity gospel pitch. An actual answer grounded in how the Bible talks about money. Here's what I found when I stopped reading Scripture as inspiration and started reading it as instruction. Most financial advice starts with a budget. The Bible starts with honesty. Proverbs 27:23. Know the state of your flocks well and pay attention to your herds. In the ancient world, your flock was your net worth. This verse is telling you, know exactly what you have and what you owe. All of it. Not an estimate, not a vague awareness. The full picture. Most people avoid looking at the full number because it hurts. I get that. But avoidance doesn't change the number. It just removes your ability to make good decisions about it. There's something different about writing your full debt number down and then praying over it. Not asking God to magically erase it, but genuinely saying, "This is real. I'm not hiding from it anymore. Help me think clearly about it." This week, 1 session, 20 minutes. Open every account, write the number down, all of it, then say it out loud. There's something powerful about speaking the truth of your situation into the air. Denial lives in silence. Here's a question almost nobody asks themselves when they swipe a card. Is this a need or is this an escape? Because a lot of debt isn't from emergencies. A lot of debt is from small purchases that felt like relief in a stressful moment. Food delivery at 11 p.m., a new thing to look forward to, something that made life feel a little less hard for a few hours. Paul wrote something that always stops me. He was sitting in a prison cell when he wrote it. No phone, no delivery apps, no way out. And he said, "I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be brought low and I know how to abound." Notice the word learned. He didn't say he was born content. He said he learned it. That means contentment is a practice skill, not a personality trait, not a spiritual gift. You get better at it by doing it. When you start using spending to manage your emotions, no budget survives that. Because the problem isn't the number. It's the function the spending is serving. For the next 7 days before any non-essential purchase, ask one question. Am I buying this because I need it, or because something else feels bad right now? You don't have to say no. Just be honest with yourself first. That pause changes everything over time. One of the most overlooked passages on personal finance is in Proverbs 6, and it's about an ant. "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest." The ant doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't wait for a bigger paycheck. It doesn't say, "I'll start saving when I get a raise." It works with what's available right now in the season it's actually in. One of the things that keeps people in debt longest is the belief that they can't really do anything until something changes. Until I get a better job. Until I pay off this card. until I get through this season. But here's what actually happens when you start doing something small right now. Not when conditions are perfect, but now. Your brain starts to believe change is possible, and that belief is what actually changes behavior long term. This month, find one recurring expense, a subscription, a habit, a small regular spend that you can cut or reduce. Take that amount, even if it's 15. Changes your life, because the act of doing it changes how you see yourself. A lot of debt starts with a decision made fast. A car loan signed because the payment seemed manageable. A credit card opened because the 0% interest offer sounded like free money. A course purchased because the excitement felt like confirmation.
So this is the final commitment?
Speed is the enemy of financial wisdom.
All right.
Almost universally. Plans fail
key
for
is
lack of
managing these
counsel, but with
variables.
many
I see. So
advisors,
we adjust
they
this one?
succeed.
Exactly. That stabilizes
Proverbs
the model.
15:22. Think about the last significant financial decision you made. A loan, a big purchase, moving somewhere new. How many people did you talk to about it beforehand? And I don't mean people who would just agree with you. I mean someone who would ask hard questions. One of the things this generation lacks, and it's not our fault, it's the isolation of the digital age, is financial mentorship. Real people who have navigated money, who can sit across from you and say, I made that same mistake, or, wait, have you thought about this part? Accountability isn't weakness, it's the infrastructure of wisdom. And Scripture doesn't just recommend counsel. It says plans fail without it. That's strong language. Not plans struggle, plans fail. Identify one person in your life who manages
The
money
key is
well.
managing these
Not
variables.
perfectly,
I see.
just
So we
thoughtfully.
adjust this one?
Reach out
Exactly.
this
That
week and ask
stabilizes
if
the
you can
model.
talk through where you're at financially. Not for advice necessarily, just for perspective. You'll be surprised how clarifying it is to say things out loud to someone who isn't inside your head. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. Give? I'm in debt. I don't have anything to give. Stay with me for a second, because I'm not going to tell you to sow a seed offering or give your last dollar to a TV ministry. That's not what this is. One person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly but comes to poverty. Proverbs 11:24. Here's what I think is actually happening in this proverb, practically speaking. When you hold everything with a closed fist, when every dollar feels like survival, you operate from scarcity. Every decision gets made from a place of fear. But when you give, even a small amount, even $5 to something that matters, something shifts in your psychology. You're no longer just a person debt is happening to. You're a person who has something to offer. That's a completely different identity. Generosity is not a reward for financial health. It's part of what creates it. There's also this. Holding on to everything doesn't actually protect you. The person who withholds, the proverb says, still ends up in poverty. The illusion of control through hoarding is exactly that, an illusion. Generosity, small, regular, meaningful, loosens the grip that scarcity has on your thinking. And clearer thinking leads to better decisions. It's not magic. It's the psychology of an open hand. This doesn't need to be large. Choose one amount, even $10 a month, and give it somewhere specific. A local food bank, a single mom in your church, an organization you believe in. Make it regular. Make it intentional. Watch what it does to how you feel about your own finances over 90 days. The last strategy isn't a tactic, it's a posture, and it might be the hardest one. A lot of financial anxiety in this generation comes from feeling like you're behind. Like everyone else got a head start and you're running a race where the finish line keeps moving. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Philippians 4:6. This verse comes right before Paul says, the God of peace will be with you, not God will solve your finances. The peace comes first, the clarity follows. That order matters. You cannot make consistently wise financial decisions from a place of panic. The anxiety loop, check the balance, feel shame, avoid the problem, spend to cope, check the balance. That loop only breaks when you introduce something outside the loop. And for those of us who believe in God, that something is prayer. Not as a vending machine, not as a last resort, as a genuine act of trust, saying, I don't have this figured out, but I believe you're in this with me. I don't have this figured out might be the most financially healthy sentence you ever say. God's economy doesn't run on the same timer as the world's. His faithfulness doesn't expire because your credit score dropped. His provision isn't contingent on you having everything perfect before he gets involved. Rest doesn't mean doing nothing. It means working hard and releasing the outcome. The ant builds, and it doesn't control the harvest. It just does its part. Spend 5 minutes this week, not praying for money, but praying over your posture. Ask for clarity instead of comfort. Ask for wisdom instead of a windfall. Ask God to show you what next step you're avoiding. Then trust that the God who sees sparrows fall sees exactly where you are right now. So, 6 strategies. Let's name them one more time. Not to repeat, but to let them land. Name what you owe. Don't hide from it. Redefine need. Are you buying a thing or buying relief? Start now. In the season you're in, not the one you're waiting for. Seek counsel before major commitments. Give something, even a little, to stay out of the closed-fist scarcity mindset. And finally, rest in the covenant. You are not alone in this. Marcus, the guy I told you about at the beginning, he's not debt-free yet. He's made real progress. But the biggest change wasn't in his bank account. It was that he stopped feeling like a fraud at church. He started seeing his financial situation as something he was working through with God, not something he had to fix before God would be proud of him. That shift is available to you too. Today, which of these 6 strategies do you most need to hear right now? And what's one honest reason you've been avoiding it? No judgment, just truth. That's where change starts. If this helped you, share it with one person who's been carrying this quietly. Sometimes the most generous thing you can do is put the right words in front of the right person.